There's a $166,000 mistake hiding inside your Roth IRA, and it's not the account. It's what happens after you open it. Already got one open? Stay with me. The Roth's pitched as the no-brainer of personal finance. Pay the tax now, live tax-free forever. I bought that pitch too, until someone ran the math on it. That number's straight from J.L. Collins' stock series, the writer who taught me more about index investing than anyone else I've read. I've never looked at my own IRA the same way since. To see the whole and whether it actually applies to you, you have to understand one thing almost nobody explains about these accounts. You already have one of these accounts open, so I'm not going to re-explain what a Roth or a traditional IRA is. You know that part. It's why you clicked. What you probably haven't seen is the $166,000 hiding underneath it, and getting there starts with one thing almost nobody explains. These accounts are buckets, not investments. Containers you put investments inside. Neither bucket makes your tax bill disappear. It just decides when you hand it over, not if, when. Fix that one word in your head because the rest of this video hangs on it. The deductible account skips the tax today. The IRS collects later when you pull the money out in retirement. Flip that order and you get the Roth. Pay the tax today with money you've already been taxed on once, and everything coming out later is free forever. That phrase, after tax money, is quietly doing a lot of work. To put a single dollar into a Roth, you first had to earn more than $1, then hand a slice of it to the government. That's the toll booth. The deductible account drives straight past it and pays nothing at the gate. Same toll, different lane. Pay it now on the way in or pay it later on the way out. Nobody drives through free. Same person, same paycheck, same year, 2 doors. Here's where that $166,000 actually comes from. Here's the setup Collins uses, and it's clean enough to run in your head without a calculator. You're in the 25% tax bracket, and this year you earn $6,667. Same paycheck, same job, before any tax comes out of it. Same income for both people in this example. What splits into 2 different outcomes is what happens to that money next, not how much of it they made. Pick your own numbers if you want. The shape of the math doesn't change, only the size of the gap. Door 1, the deductible IRA. That $6,667 hasn't been taxed yet, so $5,000 of it goes straight into the account, untouched. The other $1,667 doesn't go into the IRA at all. It just shows up in the paycheck as ordinary income, taxed at the normal 25% rate. Door 2, the Roth. The whole $6,667 gets taxed first, before any of it moves anywhere. Run the math. $6,667 minus 25% tax. That's $1,667, leaves exactly $5,000. That's what lands inside the Roth. I ran that math twice before it stuck, and I'm the one making the video about it. Same $6,667 earned. Same $5,000 sitting in an account either way. The difference is that leftover $1,667 from door 1. The government still takes its 25% cut of it, same as it would anywhere else, which leaves $1,250 in cash. The Roth path never had that $1,667 to tax separately. It went straight into the account instead. That's money the Roth path never gave you the chance to have. $1,250. Just sitting there, free and clear, because the deductible account didn't take its bite up front the way the Roth did. Okay, whoa, that's a nice number on paper. Watch what happens when you stop treating it like found money and actually put it to work. Take that $1,250 and invest it every single year for 30 years at the S&P 500's long-run average return of 8.88%. That's not a window I picked to make the math look good. It's the exact 1975 through 2014 stretch Collins ran in his own analysis, the same one behind the $166,000 figure mentioned in the beginning. Different decades, different disasters. .com crash, 2008, all baked into that average. It's not a lucky slice of history, not one blowout year carrying the whole result. An ordinary, unglamorous market average compounding quietly in the background while you go on living your life. Run that out 3 decades, same amount, same discipline, no skipped years. $166,616. That's the number in the title. Not a fee, not a loss, not a scam buried in fine print somewhere. It's the money the deductible plus invest path quietly builds. Money the Roth path structurally could never build. The Roth took its tax cut up front and left nothing behind to grow. Picture 2 identical twins. Same $5,000, same tax bracket, same 30 years, same market. One opens a Roth and never thinks about it again. Solid, boring, does exactly what it's supposed to do. The other opens the deductible IRA, takes that $1,250 in tax savings and drops it into an index fund every single year without any fanfare. 30 years later, the second twin retires $166,000 richer than the first. Same starting money, same lives. The only difference between them is one extra decision, repeated every April for 3 decades. Nobody looking at these 2 twins at a barbecue would spot the gap. Both of them maxed an IRA every year like they were supposed to. Both of them did the responsible thing, and 30 years in, one of them is quietly $166,000 ahead for reasons that never once showed up in either of their checking accounts. And notice what actually did the heavy lifting here. It wasn't a hot stock tip, and it wasn't some clever trick with the tax code. It was $1,250 a year, left alone for 30 years. That's the whole engine. Time and an ordinary index fund did more work than anything you could have picked or predicted. That's where I'd have stopped, honestly, and felt pretty smug about it. Roth bad, deductible good, mic drop, roll credits. Except the math wasn't finished with me. It turned around and bit me right back. The $166,000 isn't automatic. It's the reward for one specific behavior, actually investing the tax savings the deduction hands you every year for 30 years straight without fail. Skip that step and you don't get a smaller version of the $166K. You get none of it. 0. And the Roth, the account you just watched lose, quietly wins by default. Almost nobody does the investing part by accident. The refund lands in checking, and it becomes a weekend trip, a new phone, a slightly nicer car payment. That's not a crack in Collins' math. That's the one condition standing between you and the number in this video's title. I've done this myself, more than once. Extra take-home shows up, and my brain doesn't file it as investable capital. It files it as house money. That's the whole trap in one sentence. I had a coworker, call him Dave, who was genuinely proud of maxing his Roth every single year. We're at his desk, laptop's open, he says it flat out. I pay the tax now, I sleep at night, I'm done thinking about it forever. And I start sketching the deductible math on a piece of scratch paper, ready to show him the $166K, ready to be that guy. Then I stop, because I know this guy. I know he just financed a truck he didn't need, and I know with total certainty that if he'd taken the deductible route, that $1,250 a year was never making it into an index fund. It was making it into that truck payment. I lean back in my chair and exhale. Sit there a second before I can even get the words out. The thought landing in my head isn't the one I expected. Actually, he's kind of right. I folded the piece of paper with the math without ever showing him. Not because I was being polite, because showing him would have been technically correct and practically useless. Like handing someone a perfect diet plan built around foods they refuse to eat. True on paper, dead on arrival in his actual life. For Dave, the Roth's rigidity isn't a limitation. The fact that you can't touch the deduction, can't spend it, can't quietly borrow from yourself just this once. That's the entire point. It's a feature, not a flaw. This is the gap between the optimal spreadsheet answer and the optimal real-life answer, and they are not always the same thing. A strategy only counts if you'll actually run it for 3 decades. A strategy you won't follow isn't a strategy, it's a hypothetical with good math attached, which, honestly, is the same reason my "I'll definitely invest the tax refund" plan has a track record. About the same success rate as my "I'll start the diet Monday" plan. I've thought about that conversation with Dave a lot since then. Not because he changed my mind about the math. The math still says what it says. But because he changed my mind about whose math actually matters. It's not Colin's spreadsheet. It's yours, run against how you actually behave, not how you'd like to behave in a perfect version of your life. So if the math says one thing and human nature says another, how are you actually supposed to choose? There's a simpler rule here than you'd think. Forget which account is magic, because neither one is. The real question is this: is your tax rate lower right now, or will it be lower later in retirement? Nobody can predict future tax law with certainty, so you're not solving for a perfect answer. You're solving for the best bet with what you know about your situation today. Rule 1. You're early in your career. Income's still on the low side. You're sitting in one of the cheap brackets. Take the Roth. You're locking in a tax bill while it's small. Paying a low rate now beats paying a higher rate on that same money decades from now. Here's what that looks like in real numbers. At 22, in the 12% bracket, contributing that same $7,000, the deduction's only worth about $840 back at tax time. Barely enough to notice, let alone build a habit around. That's not tax savings, that's a nice dinner out, maybe 2. That's exactly why the Roth wins here. You're not giving up much to pay the tax now, and every dollar of growth after that is locked in tax-free, permanently. Rule 2. You're already in a high bracket. Deeper into your career, income's climbed. Taxes take a real bite out of every paycheck. Here, the deduction is worth more to you today than the tax-free withdrawal is worth 30 years from now. Lean deductible. But, and this is the whole ball game, actually invest what that deduction hands back to you. Not eventually, not once things calm down, that same year, every year, for as long as you're contributing. Put a number on it. Say you're in the 32% bracket and you contribute the current $7,000 IRA max. That deduction is worth about $2,240 back at tax time. Real money, enough to cover a decent chunk of next year's contribution just from the tax break itself. And it lands in your account looking exactly like a bonus, which is precisely the problem. Set up the transfer the same week you file. Automate it, same as your regular contributions. Refund money left sitting in checking has a strange kind of gravity to it. It finds a flight, a new jacket, a "we deserve this" dinner, all on its own. The whole $166,000 outcome depends on that money never getting the chance to wander off like that, out of sight, into the index fund before you even get a vote. Rule 3 is the one no spreadsheet includes, and it decides more outcomes than the other two combined. If you know, and honestly, no self-flattery here, if you know that you will not invest the tax savings, take the Roth. The forced discipline is worth more to you than a theoretical edge you were never going to capture anyway. Same as Dave and his truck. Wrong call on a spreadsheet, right call for him. Here's a fast way to gut check which one you are. No spreadsheet required. Look at your last tax refund. Not what you meant to do with it, what you actually did. If it went into a brokerage account, you're a deductible plus invest person, and the math is fully on your side. If it went into a vacation, a truck payment, or it just evaporated into everyday spending, you already have your answer. It's the Roth. That's the part most breakdowns skip entirely. They hand you the smarter account and never once ask whether you're the kind of person who'll actually follow through on what the math requires. I don't want this to turn into a lecture about willpower. This isn't about being a disciplined person or an undisciplined person. It's just information. Once you know which one you are with money, you can pick the account that already assumes it. That beats picking the optimal account and quietly resenting yourself for 3 decades for not using it right. Whatever you land on, remember it's when, not if. You're just choosing which decade you hand the government its cut, not whether you ever do. And underneath that, the account matters less than most personal finance content wants you to believe. It's a wrapper. What actually builds the $166,000, or your version of it, is the habit living inside that wrapper, same as it always is with this stuff. The vehicle matters less than whether you actually drive it every single year for 30 years straight. Pick the bucket that matches your bracket, then be honest about which version of yourself is going to show up every April. Get those 2 things right, and that hidden leak closes itself. You can nail the account choice, get the bucket right, get the discipline right, invest every dollar of tax savings like clockwork for 30 years, and still bleed a fortune from somewhere you'd never think to check, the person you pay to manage it for you. A modest, friendly-sounding 2% annual management fee can quietly erase more than $160,000 from a $100,000 investment over time. Same order of magnitude as the mistake we just spent this whole video on, just hiding in plainer sight. This one isn't about dishonesty. Most advisors are perfectly decent people. It's structural. An advisor's financial interest points against yours, no matter how good a person they are. That's not an accusation. That's just how the fee is built. Next video, I break down exactly how that fee compounds against you year after year, and why "I have a guy who handles it" might be the most expensive sentence in personal finance. Same style as this video. Real numbers, no scare tactics, just the math laid out where you can actually see it. Click it. I'll show you exactly where that $160,000 goes.